Mike, I'm sure you'll laud your team's resilience and perseverance, but specifically the big plays, 4 of which just absolutely killed you guys tonight. This game basically distilled down to 4 plays.
Yeah, it's pretty much a microcosm of our season. Play pretty good at times, and then, giving up a big play, explosive plays for touchdowns, and those kill you defensively. Offenses are good nowadays. They do a lot of stuff, and they're going to get yards at times, but you can't give up explosives for touchdowns, and that was disappointing. But I thought our defense, continued to play. They made plays. They made put us in position, put our offense in position a couple times with turnovers, and then we couldn't capitalize on offense. And I think the flip side, Marshall's 4 explosive plays, we had maybe 2 or 3, but we had a number of opportunities for explosive plays in the game, and we were not able to complete any of them or connect. And like an old coach told me a long time ago, open don't count. You got to execute, and you got to sight it up. You got to hit him. You got to run the right route. But I got to say this: you got to give Marshall credit defensively. They were not going to sit there and let us do what we've usually done on offense. They were going to force the issue. They made the quarterback a little bit uncomfortable, and that's what you want to do. You might not sack him all the time. I don't know how many times we got sacked, probably 3 or 4, but a number of hits that Nick took, at times it takes its toll on the quarterback. And they didn't shy away from their scheme. They said, hey, we're going to blitz, we're going to bring 6, we're going to bring 7. Sometimes they brought 8, which created one-on-one opportunities, but a lot of times those are lower percentage shots when you throw them down the field.
Nick, did you all expect them to be that feast or famine with their defensive scheme and just bring the house, basically more guys than y'all could block?
I think that we saw that a lot in third down, but they definitely brought a lot more than we saw in the film. I think we still had a good game plan for it, and when they do that, you have to take shots, like Coach said, one-on-one stuff where sometimes they're bringing more than we can block, got to get out quick. We just didn't execute in those situations.
They've been a big blitz team on first and second down, but it's been a fire zone type deal, more run blitzes. When we got in our 11 personnel, they basically used their third down package and played a lot of man, which is credit to them. It was man with everybody else, and they were doubling Mike and running a guy out under Mike, and it's a really good game plan. We had our chances. We had a chance. When you play like that, it's feast or famine. If you hit some of those balls, it could be a different story, but we didn't, and you got to give those guys credit.
Mike, how big of a loss was not having Trey Moxley in there tonight?
Well, Trey, I thought toward this was probably his first year that he had been a regular starter for us, and I thought as the season went, he had played exceptionally well for us. He's a big man, and when teams run a lot of blitzes, he is able to set walls on the backside and dent the defense, and we weren't able to set any walls against anybody tonight. And you got to give them credit. They were moving up front, but usually when teams move against us and blitz, we're able to set some walls against them offensively and divide the defense, and we weren't able to do that tonight. And like I said, going into the game, that's a very good defense. They've got good team speed. You saw them run us down a couple times on the outside runs. They were able to close quickly defensively. And then in passing situations, they were going to make us make a decision in probably 2 seconds or less every snap.
Well, Nick, there were some times where you had better protection but still went long on some long shots, to Gallup and others. I mean, were you a little rusty from 4 weeks layoffs and maybe not as sharp as you've been in a lot of other games?
No, I feel like we've had good weeks of preparation and good practices. I felt like I'd been throwing the ball well, but yeah, I got to hit Gallup in those shots, and I think that it's a different ball game. There are a number of them that he was open, and the protection was solid, and I missed him long. I didn't feel like I was throwing him all that far, but I just got to give him a chance. Even if it's short, he at least has a chance to catch it.
I'm gonna say this: you as a play caller, you got to do a better job of not being one-dimensional. And I thought we were one-dimensional tonight. And when you become one-dimensional, you put too much pressure. Defenses have the advantage, and they did a good job of bringing pressure and mixing up when they dropped guys out, and kind of made me as the play caller, take those shots. And and deep balls are low percentage throws. They are low percentage throws, and we had to do a better job of getting the intermediate routes, as you said. We had some of them called, and they did a good job of covering them. But at the end of the day, you can't throw it. We're not built to throw it 52 times, and Dawkins got a little bit banged up early in the game, and they took his helmet. Izzy's a little bit banged up. We had some issues and had our opportunities, but again, I think Marshall knew that, and basically was going to stack the box and force you to take those shots.
Mike, I know you talked about it earlier this week about the loss of the coaches not being a distraction or hurt you or hamper your preparation, but did it when you rushed for 70 yards tonight and you give up 5 sacks?
And that would be an excuse. I mean, those coaches got hired by another school. They took that job and they left, and the coaches that stayed here worked their tail off. I thought these players, two guys sitting up here, worked their tail off. I thought our guys prepared, and at the end of the day, we came up short. And it stinks when you come up short. It does. It does, but I do think we're closer than some might think. I know we're closer than some might think. We got to figure out a way to make those plays in critical situations and learn how to win. We're still trying to learn how to win, and you have to go through moments like that sometimes. But I do think our team put themselves out there every game this year. They put themselves out there, all right, and they weren't afraid of failing, and we failed, and it hurts, and it should hurt, all right. But that's what we're going to build on, that feeling that we have, and we're going to go back to work. These two guys up here set a great example of coming back every week, being locked in, going to work, and trying to represent this university the right way, which they did. Came up a little short on the scoreboard, and it stinks. Nobody's happy with that. Not these two guys, not myself, not those players in the locker room. But you gotta go back to work, and I got a good feeling of the direction we're headed. And sometimes you say, how can you say that when you lost the game? Well, that's part of it. That's how you grow when you fail. I mean, everything's easy all the time. Nobody would amount to anything, in my opinion.
Nick, just how disappointing is it, though, 3 straight bowl losses? I mean, you guys have done a lot of things. You've put up a lot of big numbers in your career, but to have to end this way, just how tough is that?
It's definitely tough, and you have an opportunity to play in the postseason, play an extra game, have some fun with your team, and in my opinion, the most fun you can have is winning games like that. There's nothing like being able to go out there, put up a lot of points, hold the other team to a lot of points, and have success on both sides and have a great time. But yeah, I mean, Coach always talks about finishing, and he has from the start. And I think that's been something we've been striving for. But I think we finished well towards the end of the regular season, but haven't been able to pull together an entire season, including the last game. So I'm not exactly sure what that comes from, but I think we had a good game plan. We just didn't execute it well enough.
Evan, defensively started out strong. Fourth quarter, it seems like you guys started to turn things around. What was that key there? Obviously didn't get that one last stop, but it seems like things are starting to turn around.
I just think, honing in on our keys, some of those explosive plays, it was just, someone being, inside when they should have been outside, or outside when they should have been inside, or not spilling a block or whatever. So it was just, minor changes we had to make, and I just think that we put our heart all on the field, and that's what, was the difference when we made those key stops.
Mike, you say, you think you're very close, even though obviously there's frustration. You don't want to be here, but how much urgency is there to make, to get over that hump with the decisions, coaching staff and then also recruiting coming up right now?
Well, to be honest with you, it feels, there's a lot of urgency and pressure to make those decisions, especially with the early signing day. I keep telling myself we're still only in December. Usually a lot of these changes happen, in January, or after bowl games. Things have happened a little bit sooner this year. But that's one of the reasons why we're flying back tonight. I got to get to work on a coaching staff. I got to get to work on recruiting. We got a signing day on December 20th. It's something new for everybody. We got to figure out what guys are that are committed to us are going to sign, and we still got some guys we're recruiting. We can't go on the road, so it's going to be a lot of conversations. I have a lot of conversations with coaches, but that I don't know if I'll get that in place before some of those changes or the direction I'm going in coaching by the first signing day, but definitely hopefully before we go back out on the road in January before the next signing day. But we've got 4 days before December 20th. We're going to talk to our guys that we're actively recruiting and see how many guys we can get signed that we feel really good about as students and athletes. And then after that day, we're going to regroup, and it's going to be a 5.5-week sprint, to the next signing day. We just got to add in, some coaching changes and a 10th coach, and we've got a lot of things that we got to get straight before we go back out on the road.
Evan, Nick, what was the attitude of this team when Marshall took a 17-point lead?
Evan, why don't you answer that one?
Just that, it was still our game, and I think that we could, make a big comeback and end up winning the game ultimately. But, when they had that lead, we just, kept their heads up and kept fighting, knew the defense needed to make stops, and so we could give the ball to our offense so they could score, really. That was it.
Nick, on Thursday, Mike made a comment about you not necessarily being the most nimble quarterback in the world. Did you joke with him at all after scoring 2 rushing touchdowns tonight?
No, not really. Those touchdowns came at a point where we were still down, and there wasn't really time for joking around. It was, about going back and getting the ball back for the defense, and then for us to go score again. Yeah, there were 2 of those, so that's nice. But yeah, I think we were still locked in, and I kind of, to piggyback off what Evans was saying, we were in those situations, we were in the mode of like, this game's not over. We've been here before. We can put up points. We can stop offenses. Like, we're still in this. So,
Mike, Nick, what's the mental recalculation that you guys make when Dalen doesn't have his helmet, Marshall's starting to score there in the second quarter, and you've got to keep up without one of the guys who's been one of your most trustworthy offensive performers this year?
Well, I think it's next man up. I know we had some guys down. We had suspensions in the first half, but, we addressed that, and the next guy was up. I thought Darius May came in and ran a nice run. I thought Izzy had some good runs there on one of those drives, and then, we went a little bit more to the air. But, if we sit over there and act like we're not going to be able to do anything if a guy goes down, that's really not how we're built. The next guy's got to be up. They got to be ready to go for their opportunity when that arises, and that's how we train. But, it's football, and those things happen sometimes. You got to keep playing, and I thought our kids did keep playing. I thought they continued to play hard the whole game, gave ourselves an opportunity in the fourth quarter to win the game, and we didn't finish. That's the bottom line. We didn't finish. We didn't make the plays. Marshall did. Credit goes to Marshall for making the plays, and, it hurts for these seniors and hurts for these 2 guys up here. But we'll regroup and we'll get ready again for next year.
Coach, with the emotions running so low in the locker room, what was your message to the team afterwards in the locker room?
Well, my first thing was I told them I loved them. I told those seniors that I appreciate everything they've done for this program, how they've represented this program. I did not recruit probably 85% of those guys in that room, but they were all in for Colorado State. They were all in with my vision and what I wanted to do with this program and the culture that we're trying to set. And I thought these two guys are 2 of the main guys. Really doesn't matter what happened the next day or the next week. they manned up and they went to work, and told them just wasn't a 3-year relationship. It's the rest of their life relationship. I'll be there. Call, come see you, whatever you need. And, you know, I mean, you are what your record is, okay? Let's be honest. You are what your record is. But there's some hurt in that locker room. And quite frankly, when I got here, we had guys in that locker room that didn't want to go to bowl games. Yeah, I'd never seen anything like it. Didn't want to play after Christmas. I'd never seen anything like it. Now, these guys are competing and playing their tails off, and they hurt, all right? And it hurts for these guys because they invested so much and came up short, all right? But if we can learn from that with those guys, the rest of those guys in that locker room, we can get where we want to go. So I'm going to use it as a positive, and we're going to go back to work, and it's going to be harder this year than it was last year. But I do appreciate those guys. I think we've come to a point where there is no quit, there is no lay down, there is investment, and there's pain, which it should be.
One more? Or you want to call?
Evan, I saw you nodding your head a lot there when Coach was talking. Can you say how you feel about the relationship you have with Coach Bobo?
Can you say that again, please? Sorry.
I saw you nodding your head there a lot when Coach was saying those last words. Can you talk about your relation with Coach and what it means to you?
Well, yeah, we've just grown, you know, over the past 3 years tremendously. You know, from not playing much on defense and mostly being a special teams guy to becoming a starter, you know, we just got so much closer. And I think the trust between us, you know, just continues to grow and will continue to grow throughout our lives. And, you know, I think he's the right man for the job. And, you know, he's done a great job with all the players and staff on this, you know, in this program. I just think that, you know, he's a hell of a coach and nothing short of that.